Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. The reason I want to teach this course, Applied Meditation, is because there's a lot of meditation instruction out there, and it gets confusing. Some people say, oh, just focus on your breath. Other people say, oh, imagine a Buddha, imagine or someplace in your body or something like that. But how do you know if you're doing it right, if you're making progress, if you're getting better? You know, we've all heard a lot about how good meditation is for your body and for your mind. We want really good instructions, and where this comes from, okay, this confusion isn't new. Back in Tibet, about 750 AD, and I can actually get you a printout of the description of this debate. The king finally said, there was people coming over from Japan or China saying to do things one way, and then people coming up from India saying to do things the other way. And of course, Buddhism started in India, but the king was just like, okay, wait, stop. We're going to have debate, all right? And whoever wins the debate, all of Tibet will follow that in the future. So from China came this guy named Hashwang Mahayana, and he represented the Chan way of meditating, which when that went to Japan became Zen, so Chans. And as we'll see, that comes from Indian, from Tibetan, from Sanskrit. Dhyana became Chan, became Zen. Kind of interesting. But anyway, so he collected together all the sutras that just said, empty your mind, you know, just let go of everything kind of thing. And he kind of hid the ones that said, that you have to focus on an object. Meanwhile, up from India comes Master Kamalashila, and he came from the tradition that had been flourishing in India for, 1,400 years at that point, or 1,200 years at that point. That meditation is a tool, and you use it to focus your mind on some object that's going to help you and change your mind. Okay? So here was the debate. One says, empty your mind. One says, no, you have to focus on an object, okay? So they debated, and Master Kamalashila mopped the floor with Hwashang Mahayana, when Hwashang said, no, you have to empty your mind, you have to be free of concepts. Master Kamalashila said, so I guess a dog must be enlightened already because they don't have concepts, or a drunk, or someone who's passed out. So at the end of the debate, Hwashang offers this big bouquet to Master Kamalashila saying, yeah, okay, you win, you get it. And since then, Tibet followed the Indian path, okay, which is kind of cool because America, again, is kind of a crossroads, right? All these traditions come from different places. Then, 700 years later, about 1400, this guy, Tsongkhapa, who was the teacher of the first Dalai Lama, who lived from, what were his dates? Anyone here know who's had a class before? He was born in 1357 and lived until 1419. And one of his students was posthumously recognized as the first Dalai Lama. He wrote the greatest spiritual book of all times called Lambrim Chemo, or the Great Book on Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. And the section on meditation, well, this is interesting.
Sorry to bother you guys, 1301?
Yes, sir.
Is there downstairs?
No, sir.
You're looking inside between the rails.
All right,
This
thanks.
is where the main one is.
Well, that never happens. So, Tsongkhapa, I don't know, there's some tantric deities that are surrounded by big black crows, and they're like protectors. Never know who those guys in black could have been. So when Tsongkhapa wanted to write the section on meditation, he took from Master Kamalashila, which, by the way, Master Kamalashila went on to write 5 books on meditation in Sanskrit and Tibetan. And they were all called Bhavana Krama, which means stages of the path, or stages of enlightenment, or stages of meditation, Gomrim in Tibetan. So Tsongkhapa took Gomrim and put that in his great book on stages of the path. And that is what's in the text that we're going to be studying. So I wanted to offer this because it's a source we could rely on. And as we'll see when we get into mental technique, there's different stages, different classic archetypal obstacles that we come up against in our meditation practice. And you learn how to recognize those, and you know how to do what to do about them. And that's where the confusion about instructions come by. Because if you're at one stage, yeah, you have to let go. All right? If you're at another stage, you have to tighten your focus, your mindfulness, you know, and that's something else. I hate the word mindfulness. It's used over and over and over again. Everybody talks about it. I don't think anybody knows what it really means. Okay? So we'll have some actual Tibetan words that come from Sanskrit that describe some of these stages and some of these problems in meditation. And that's what we're going to do. Okay? And finally, we will take some of the stages of the path to enlightenment as an object of meditation. There's certain nice concepts to have when you're meditating, rather than, you know, a Buddha image or just on your breath. In our tradition, focusing on your breath is just warm up. It's just turning the key and idling to get going. So, okay. Any questions before I go on? All right. So, so this course, this 5 weeks, will have 5 parts. So if anyone asks you on your homework, what are the 5 parts for study or meditation? The first is all about preparation, okay? It might seem kind of ritualistic and things like that, but here's the thing. If you follow the program, it works. You know, even if you believe in it or don't believe in it, if you just do the practice of getting ready to meditate, it really helps. And it's tried and true practice. When I taught this course in Santa Cruz, and it was open to just anybody, there was in Santa Cruz, there's a lot of spiritual things going on. So after the course, one lady came in to me and said, you know, I think I'll just go and do my own thing. Thanks. And I go, okay, but you know, I know it seems a little technical, but really it's good to have. No, I'd rather just do my own thing, you know. Okay, well, you know, so send her off. But inside I'm thinking, well, great. You want to throw away like 25 centuries of research and development and just come up with your own thing. Good luck with that. I hate to sound arrogant, but that's just the way I feel about it, you know. I'd rather know, you know, have the good instructions. So, anyway, there's some preparation. And then next week we'll talk about 6 ideal conditions for meditation. Sometimes being downtown is not an ideal condition, but but you can do it. And I'll talk about retreat too a little bit. Right now, doing a meditation retreat might be the last thing on your mind, but just plant a seed that maybe possibly I could do a retreat someday, because I tell you, your practice just takes off when you just focus on it. You know, you can start with like a weekend group retreat, and then maybe a 10-day group retreat, and then you can try solo retreat. And then I've done all of those a couple of times, and I've done 3 solo retreats up to a month long, where I just didn't see anybody and just did my practice. And I got to tell you, you just get to some levels that you just didn't know were there, you know, until you really focus on it. So even if it seems impossible now, think that you might do some retreat. We'll talk a little bit about the correct posture. And that's just kind of as a starting place. I mean, this is going to be the canonical posture to use. And then we'll get into the mental process. And I have 5, 8, and 9 here, okay? Because there are 5 obstacles to meditation, there are 8 corrections, and there's 9 resultant stages. So we'll have all of that. And and I could just talk about it. This is kind of like flight school, but like when you're practicing, then you'll be like, oh wait, that was that thing. Okay, I know what to do, you know, like that. So that's why it's good to practice that. And then we'll do some stages of the path to enlightenment, object of meditation as well. So that is the outline of the course. Questions before I go on? You guys are glad to interrupt or interject or anything, it's fine, okay. I should talk, whenever you get a Dharma teaching, since you guys don't know me, you should probably know who you're dealing with, okay? in '99, I met my teacher, Geshe Michael Roach. He's the first American to get a Geshe degree, which is like a 20-year course of study, like a double Doctor of Divinity from a Tibetan monastery. I was kind of a nightstand Buddhist until then, and a friend of mine, just meaning that, you know, I read some Dharma books and kind of interested in stuff like that. And I had a friend who was really into Tibetan Buddhism, and he said, you got to come see this guy. And I was working and, you know, didn't have a lot of money. And in Santa Cruz, it's like Guru of the Month Club. You know, there's always somebody coming through, giving a teaching, all that. And then they just go away. I call them bungee lamas, you know. They just kind of come in, give a teaching, and then bounce right back out, you know, rather than sticking with you and teaching a lot of stuff. And so he's saying, you got to come see this guy. And I say, look, I can't afford to go to every bungee lama. And I said, no, just show up. They won't turn you away. I'm like, fine, okay. And being that he's an American and he had the serious background and everything, he really blew me away. And so I'm like, tell me more. And it's like, well, I have these 18 courses. And I'm like, okay, I'll take those. And he was just going into a 3-year retreat right before he gave that teaching. So I did the 18 courses. He came out of retreat, and they started a retreat center and university in Arizona called Diamond Mountain. And it's just this lousy place in the desert that we slowly started to build buildings, and then a temple, and then he over 6 years taught the higher teachings, Tantra, and I took all of those courses and did some retreats and all of that. So I have all the 18 open courses that are in the flyer that I handed out, and then 18 in the higher teachings. And then out of about 150 people completed that program, about a third of them, about 40 of them went into 3-year retreat themselves at Diamond Mountain. And so 40 of my friends that I've been studying with for 6 years just have disappeared now, and they started on December 30th, and they're still in there and doing well. There was a huge, giant wildfire that threatened to take out the retreat, and it stopped right at the boundary. They've had freezing, they haven't had floods yet, but they're going for it. And there was a big push to build 30 cabins. Some people went in as couples. And a year ago, I was there building cabins, or trying to help get one cabin complete anyway. And it was almost impossible. It looked like maybe 10 cabins would be finished, 10 maybe, and 10 like no way they're going to get done. All 30 cabins got permits, and the retreat started. So, and then another third kind of scattered to the four winds, like to San Diego and other places, and another third of that school stayed in Arizona. So. I grew up in San Diego. I've been away for 30 years, Arizona, Alaska, and it's just really good to be home, and I really want to share what I have, what I've learned. So that's a little bit about me. More on the website, of course.